find out more. And you know how much I love it when a national day coincides with the guest that I have here on Good Things. And I thought that today's National Tie One On Day was going to work perfectly with my guest who is joining us, but I got it confused. So there's actually a national day that has nothing to do with drinking booze called National Tie One On Day, which is actually today. And in fact, it is in honor of all of you working hard preparing for tomorrow's big Thanksgiving Day. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say a few of you are enjoying some bubblies while you're making your cranberry sauce or maybe opening the can or making your stuffing and your dressing. But joining us today on Good Things to talk about his innovative business, it's called Moonshine, Mississippi, is Raj. Hey, Raj.
Hey, Rebecca.
It's good to have you here. I'm going to get you to move a little closer to the mic. No big deal. Now, your name has been swirling around through past Good Things guests as well as with Innovate Mississippi because you have figured out a way to bridge a gap between us sitting at home wishing that we had a bottle of our favorite and the laziness to getting up and actually going and getting it ourselves. So let's start from the beginning. The name of your company is Moonshine MS or Moonshine, Mississippi. Where did you start dreaming up this idea?
Let's take a step back. So before this, I was working on a food delivery business, and for various reasons, that didn't go well. And around that time, the legislation that is House Bill 1135 has passed, which allows Mississippians, Mississippi liquor stores to deliver alcohol from their stores to customers' homes. And that's when I started thinking about this idea. And for the last couple of months, we've been building the platform and getting our liquor license to deliver and putting our apps together and putting the whole infrastructure together to make deliveries from stores to customers' homes. Mississippi
is notorious for maybe putting up roadblocks for residents to enjoy their favorite beverages. It still surprises me that we have, dry counties, but we also have days where you can't buy alcohol at all, speaking of voting days. But such is life, and that's why we love Mississippi in all of her colorful ways. So did you run into a lot of roadblocks or sort of trying to figuring out? I know this is a very startup. How long have you been in business?
Well, we started in June, so about 5 months or 6 months at this point. So all the rules that apply to a liquor store will apply to us. So on Sundays, we cannot sell, and on election days, we cannot sell. And also there are a lot of restrictions on how far we can deliver from the store. So we can go up to 30 miles from the store. And we cannot sell for resale purpose. We can only bring it to consumers' homes. So all those rules apply to us. But overall, the process has been pretty straightforward, and we work with a local law firm, McLaughlin LC. They've been very helpful to getting our license in place, and the ABC has been very helpful getting our license on time, and we are in business now.
So you were connected with Innovate. So I'm curious, how did they help you, Raj, take this idea of Moonshine, Mississippi to the actual being a business? Because I know at one time this was just, swirling around in your head, wondering how to sort of put the pieces together. And I make that point because I feel like there's so many more listening to Good Things who have these ideas and they don't know what kind of help or the next step to sort of take. So how did you take that next step?
Absolutely. I think that's a very good question. And my interactions with Innovate goes well beyond Moonshine. Before, with my food delivery business, I used to work with them, so I know them pretty well. And Tony and Tasha, they're always very helpful, very encouraging. They give you a lot of ideas on where we can improve on. So a lot of times you have an idea. But to really make it into a business and to put the whole support system with it, and that's where Innovate comes into place. And also, we may be overlooking, when you have an idea, you may be overlooking certain things from the operational perspective or from the financial perspective. That's where they can help put all those things together and make it a real company so we can take it to the market and make real revenue from there.
I also love a part of your story that you're open with, Raj, out the gate. It was like, man, I was trying something completely different, and by all, purposes, maybe it wasn't a success. We would have deemed it maybe, air quotes, a failure. But you looked at that as like, no, I'll just sort of pivot and take those same sort of, ideas and then apply them to maybe a different thing. Where does that sort of grit come from? Because some would have tucked their tail and just said, maybe entrepreneurship's not for me.
That's also a very good question. I have a lot of background in IT. I worked in a lot of different companies. This is a very high risk for me, even doing the previous startup. You're absolutely right. I could have said, no, enough with this. I can go easily find a job and make real money. But I learned quite a bit from that failure. If you really look at it, I spent almost three years working on eBox Chain. There's a company called. But I did not make any revenue. I did not make any income. But I learned quite a bit, which I would not have learned otherwise. So I really take that as a positive outcome, even though it is a failure from the startup perspective. And that's what really gave me the courage and the encouragement to move forward. And also, even Innovate Mississippi know me from that. Even at that point, we didn't have any revenue, but eventually we were able to generate quite a bit of revenue, so they could see how I turned that around. And that's why they're able to help me move forward with Moonshine.
Which I think is something for us all to think about, even in our worst moments where we feel like, oh man, we just really dropped the ball, or it just didn't work out the way we thought. There can always be, lessons learned, or there always can be silver linings to whatever, may have transpired. And I feel like, Raj, everyone I'm talked to about Moonshine has been like, why didn't I think about that? And sometimes it takes just the right scenario to come. You're talking about the legislation that then opened it up, and right timing, right place. So what have your customers been like? Are they excited about this particular service?
Yeah, absolutely. Last week we were at Innovate Connect, the conference that Innovate Mississippi runs. People are extremely excited about alcohol deliveries. More than anybody, the customers want it. They want the convenience, they want the safety and the security, so that they don't have to drive. Especially on the Friday nights and Saturday nights when they're in the middle of the party, they don't want to go out and drive. Right now, there is no such option to get these products delivered to them. So we are the first company in the state of Mississippi to provide this service.
When I can see where you're going to expand probably pretty quickly, Raj. Okay, so let's talk about how it works, because it is an app, or is it an app with the actual retail store? So how does it work?
Yes. Right now, we're just on the website. The app is in development, so most likely we'll have the app ready by end of December or early January. But until then, it's just a website. The website is moonshinems.com. If you're looking for a certain product, you would go to the website, you search for it, or you find the product, and you place an order online. You make the payment online, and the order will actually go to the store that is close to you or where you have purchased from. And one of our drivers will go pick it up from the store and bring it to your home. And when they do that, they'll ask you for your driver's license. We scan your driver's license, make sure you're 21 plus, and they also make sure you're not drunk. Legally, we are required to do that. And once those aspects are verified, they'll give you the product, and that's the end of it.
It's easy peasy.
Yes.
But this sort of, again, I mentioned bridges the gap, because for a lot of our local, we always talk about shopping small here, your local liquor stores, wine stores, spirit stores, they are small businesses within our communities. They don't want or like the idea of being able to ship out, from across the state and all those things. So here's, to me, it's like a happy medium. You still get to support small. Now you get to support small twice. And, but you still get the convenience of home delivery, which I think is what everyone is coming down to want. It's sort of that just convenience.
Absolutely. That's a big part of what I'm trying to do, build this as a Mississippi-based business. We are here. There are some national brands that are not in the state, are trying to come into the state, and we are a lot more affordable pricing-wise, and also we're a full, complete service, meaning we have a platform and we actually do the deliveries. And a lot of the bigger companies, they don't do the deliveries. They'll bring the order to the store, but they don't actually do the deliveries. So by working with the stores, we're actually trying to take that risk away from them, so that they don't have to put their store licenses in jeopardy. So we'll take the risk away from them. That's the reason, and they want to be on the platform and they want to use our service.
Because I would assume once it leaves their store, then
correct. The liability goes on to us.
The liability goes into you. It sounds like, Raj, you have really thought a lot of this sort of through. I know one thing you also pride on is having some Mississippi sort of like exclusives. There's some things in Mississippi that you can only get in terms of booze and
correct.
alcohol. And if you are someone who enjoys that, then you don't have to go searching for it. You can now just go to the website and sort of find it that way. All right, it is National Tie One On Day, but not in that way. But we may celebrate the way we all think it is with a little bit more conversation with Raj coming up. And you can be in on the newest company here in Mississippi. Well, you can be in if you're in central Mississippi, but it's coming to a location near you. But what I love about Raj's story, he's the founder of Moonshine, Mississippi. How do you describe your business? Are you what do you say, like when people say, what is Moonshine? Is it a delivery service?
Moonshine is a delivery service. We deliver alcohol from liquor stores to your homes.
To your homes, which you order through your website,
Yes.
and then it goes to and sort of that way. What I love about this too, though, is just the innovation, because we were talking during the break here on Good Things, Raj, is the fact that you're an IT guy that has now utilized the opportunities found in tech to get in the liquor business. Where, if you remember here on Good Things with Miss Kristen Allen with Bloombridge, she was an arts lady who then utilized tech to get into sort of that business. So did you always recognize that when you were in IT doing sort of the traditional IT stuff, that maybe there was an opportunity to leverage this type of technology for many other different industries?
No. I never thought I'll be an entrepreneur. For the most part, I worked in corporate for last many years. And then I went and got an MBA from Duke about 3 years ago. Then that's what this spiraled into. Then that really kicked my entrepreneurial spirit into action. And with one of my classmates from Duke, we started eBox Chain. Then that led into Moonshine,
which has you here today talking about the fact you're the first in Mississippi to sort of think this through or come up with it. Now, there are sort of national companies, but you've made a conscious decision to be different and be different in a better way. So how do you feel like Moonshine is different than maybe, I think it's a Drizzly?
Drizzly, yes.
Drizzly. So what's the biggest difference?
The biggest difference is Drizzly will bring the order to the store, but they do not actually deliver it to the customers' homes. So that responsibility still falls on the store. That means they have to hire a driver, have the cars, have the insurance, and actually take the liability of delivering the product and making sure that the customer is 21 plus and they're not drunk and they're within the dry and wet areas in Mississippi. So they have to make sure all of those things are taken care of by the store. Where we are different is we take all the responsibility. Once we pick up the package from the store, we take all the responsibility away from the store. So that gives them quite a bit of peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Okay, so let's talk about some of your product reviews. So how does one get into the business of maybe making recommendations when it comes to the bubblies on your website?
Absolutely. By having the e-commerce, that's what we are really trying to do. So most of the stores do not have any review methods to do it. The best they have right now is maybe Facebook or maybe Google reviews. And by having this platform, we can bring the product reviews and also the store reviews. So you may be looking for certain wine, but you don't really know how it tastes. Now, as time progresses, you can see multiple reviews from the customers as they use it. So we are trying to bring all of that into one place. And also a lot of times the stores do not know who their customers are. Once they buy the product, they leave the store, they don't know who they are. By having a platform, now we have the continuity of servicing that customer. So for example, if you like certain wine and if the wine is on sale, now they can send you a notification through your email, through the app, so they can go buy it. So that's what we are trying to do by having this platform.
That's pretty cool, and sort of taking the guesswork out of it. Obviously, if you're sitting at home or you just want the convenience of it, eventually you'll go on and you'll sort of find the thing, and you don't have to worry about chasing it down on all the stores. That's where it just sort of simplifies, in terms of for the consumer.
Correct. So most of this is location-based, meaning if you are in Jackson, Madison, we can show you stores that are close to you. At the same time, if you're looking for this very rare wine or certain bourbon, you can search it throughout the state and actually find it. And if you're willing to go or if you have us to deliver it, we can still do it.
You can still do it. And I know, eventually you're a 5-month company, Raj. So
yes.
no harm done on the fact you're not statewide yet. You're getting there.
Right.
Like there are liquor lovers from top to bottom in Mississippi. So if there is a store that's listening or someone who has a friend who owns maybe a wine and spirit store, and I think this service would be awesome in our location, is there an easy way to get in touch with you?
Yes, the easy way is to go to our website, moonshinems.com, and there is a little form to submit your store information. So I'll get an email and we'll contact you right away.
So prior to this, would you consider yourself maybe like a bourbon lover or a wine lover, or like where? Because you had to have a little bit of interest in this industry to sort of make the shift, or was it really spur of the moment and you just saw the opportunity and took it?
Well, I don't discriminate, so I like all kinds of alcohol. But
I'll take it.
But mainly, I like bourbon. I like any single malt, and I also like IPAs. Those are my favorite drinks. But from the business perspective, that's not what triggered this. It's mainly the opportunity, and I think it's the right timing with the legislation.
With legislation, you mentioned IPAs, which brings into the whole other conversation is beer as well, which that's correct. I mean, because normally, I think still here in Mississippi, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You're probably way more versed in our the way things are set up. But normally, you can't buy one and the other at the same place. So now.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Wherever they sell alcohol, you cannot buy beer. So I'm trying to work with both beer stores and also the traditional liquor stores. And, depending on how things goes, right now we are mainly focusing on liquor stores, but eventually we're looking into beer stores as well.
So sort of doing it all. Now, I love to, on your little card that you have here, Raj, for Moonshine, it says that there's a 30 mile, but then also a 30-pound weight limit, which I find funny. I find funny for so many different ways, but that's because you can't deliver what?
Big kegs mainly. We cannot carry them, so that will put the drivers at risk. And also, if it's too many bottles, I'm sure we'll find a way to repackage them and make it less than 30 pounds.
But so we've all been through our favorite, wine and spirit store, especially during the holidays or anytime during the pandemic. And you always saw that person that you wanted to be friends with because they had the grocery cart going up and down the aisles. And you think, I really hope you're buying for multiple families, or, if not, I need to know what you're doing, with your everyday life, because man, that's a lot of liquor in one purchase. But hey, there's a scenario for everybody. You mentioned this too, the drivers. So is this are you tapping into sort of the network of drivers who are already doing maybe like the food pickup and all that, kind of like what Bloombridge is doing with their flower delivery, or do you have your own set of rules, own set of drivers, own set of things?
Yes, actually, that's also a very good point. We are, from the outsiders, we may look like a gig company, but we are not really a gig company. What that means is our drivers are vetted a lot more than a gig company. That means we'll do their background checks. We'll also make sure they don't have DUIs. They have a clean driving record for the last 3 years. They have decent cars, and they also have to take our training so that they're eligible to deliver alcohol. They have to go through a training. And also, a lot of times in the gig companies, the drivers don't get paid until they make a delivery. In our case, we'll actually have them on schedule, so they'll actually get paid for being on the schedule, so that's how we can guarantee faster deliveries and better service. And also, we'll pay much higher than the other gig companies.
It sounds like you've really thought a lot of this through, Raj. I mean, you look back now that you have Moonshine, MS or Mississippi up and running, and it really has great, potential for growing and filling a void that I feel like has been needed in Mississippi for a really long time, at least for those who choose to enjoy their bubblies. Are you glad that maybe the food thing didn't work out now, or do you look back and go, okay, it's still fresh, it's too soon to talk about it in that perspective?
I think the bigger picture, yes, because honestly, nobody is really making any real profits in the food business. All the big companies, Grubhub, Uber Eats, they're not really making any good revenue, good profits. I mean, they're not profitable at this point. So I think we have a better opportunity based on those learnings. And at this point, at least, I'm sure there will be other companies coming in, but there is no competition, so we are able to provide better service based on our learnings earlier. And, conceptually, it looks simple, but there are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of regulations we need to follow, and and keeping both the stores and the customers happy. That's our goal.
And you said one step at a time, and I think we'll give you that grace. And in a year from now or 2 years from now, when we catch up with you, Raj, like we do so many of our entrepreneurs here on Good Things, it'll be nothing but growth and greatness coming from Moonshine MS. If we want to connect with you, how can we do that?
The easy way is through the website, or the email address is info@moonshinems.com.
All righty, there you go. And you did mention that you already connected with a few, so if you are in Central Mississippi, you can go ahead and maybe place your delivery. Are y'all taking Thanksgiving off?
No.
No? Well, there you go.
So we'll be open. We are working with Madison Cellars in Madison, so we are ready to take orders.
Ready to take orders. Well, if you use their service, let us know how it goes. We look forward to sticking with you, Raj, and getting an update in a year or so and seeing how things are going. So happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. You guys stick with us. We got more good things for you coming up next.